Hello and welcome to The Loudspeaker, your definitive guide on how to scale your startup.
This first tip for every fintech startup is
what are the media and press saying about us? How are we being perceived by these people?
PR stunts are any activities that allow you to engage with the audience.
I don't agree with the fact that all publicity is good publicity.
Here is where we talk to communications professionals from all around the world to let you know what are the best practices and cool ideas that you can implement for your startups.
I would love for us to be able to start the show by you telling our listeners who you are, what SatoshiLabs does, and your role there, please, Kristyna.
Hi, I'm Kristyna Mazankova, and I'm head of PR in SatoshiLabs, which is a group of startups based in Czech Republic, in Prague, actually. We are the inventor and producer of the world's first Bitcoin hardware wallet, Trezor, and many inventions that are behind cryptocurrency security.
Fantastic. And I am a huge fan of like crypto and Bitcoin, so I'm fully aware of Trezor, and it's always a name that pops up whenever hardware wallets are discussed. But with regards to PR and marketing, what steps has SatoshiLabs taken in order to be an industry leader in the hardware wallet space, other than being the first, I assume? That's got to help.
I'm a real believer in PR and communication by honesty. So the best thing Trezor could ever do is actually to focus on the product development and solving the problem that was on the market, and let the product quality and user experience talk for itself. And it's obviously a little bit different strategy in communications when you are the first one starting the whole industry and creating a new thing. And then it's also a different experience for us right now when the Bitcoin has its third bull run, and it's booming everywhere. And obviously the market is already saturated with many solutions. We are open source, so many of the solutions are our clones, for example, but that's all right. We are fine with that. But I really believe that the best strategy is to focus on product.
Yeah, I like your confidence there in the fact that whatever, people can try and copy us, but they're not going to beat us.
Yeah, I mean, open source is like something that really brings its pros and cons, and obviously copying, it's something that you might be worried about, but we are always many steps ahead, and we believe that the quality and the fact that we are the ones bringing it first to the market is actually a big value for the customer.
Awesome. Now, as the head of PR for the company, what are some of the biggest PR wins that you are most proud of that Trezor has received, or SatoshiLabs?
I don't want to sound too vague, but here our mission is to actually help people to see value in self-sovereignty and the gain that they can get via Bitcoin. So we are always promoting more basically the whole philosophy that we are built on, the Bitcoin philosophy. And with that, I think comes a great chunk of responsibility, because where in fiat currencies you basically can leave all the responsibility in the hands of banks and insurance companies. Here you need to be the one who decides and who takes the responsibility for your own safety and for your own financial sovereignty. And for us, that means that we are on a mission to educate and to be the one who helps people to orientate themselves in the Bitcoin industry. So I think one of the PR wins is when we are able to bring our own content that adds value, that is not just a clickbait PR, but that it's something that actually adds value for the final customer. And I have lots of people appreciating our content. For example, when we bring into our blog posts economical experts and other people from outside of the company, and just have different points of views and point of discussion in our blog. Maybe it sounds funny, but in this market, it sometimes is very important not just what you have done, but what you haven't. And I would like to point out that we are strictly not commenting on any competitors, and that we also don't give financial advices, which is something that in cryptocurrency industry is resonating in media, and I see daily that many companies that they don't have an expertise in finance, they give their opinions, and those things just don't age well.
Yeah, that's a big risk to take, and you're really putting your neck out on the line if you're giving someone financial advice like that.
I think it's actually very dishonest, and I would say even unethical to give predictions and your opinions, because above all, it's people's life savings in stake. And that's something that it's very important to realize, that when you're working as a communication professional in this industry, that it's not just about clippings and your clickbait and at the end your report to the board, but it's also other people involved and counting on you.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you said something just now a bit before that really stood out for me, which I really enjoyed, about how proud you are of your blog and how you use that as such a strong PR resource, because that's something that's often forgotten, that your own media, the media that you put out there, is many times just as important as the PR wins that you get externally, because that really shows strength in your knowledge and what you do. And also it's the first place where people are going to look to see whether or not your brand has any real recognition in their own media. Not recognition, but strength, I suppose. And especially for a company like yourself, like I try to describe Trezor to my coworkers and the magnitude of the where you stand within the crypto world. And I was saying, imagine if I was doing an episode on PCs, like computers or laptops. It's similar to, I feel like it's similar to having someone from HP or Dell, the head of PR for either of those firms, on the show. So I tried to put it in that context. So it's not exactly like you can't go out there and you can't get external results. You definitely can with your name behind you. But I think it's great that you put so much resource behind your own blog, and it sounds like something that is a really valuable resource for the company.
Well, actually, technically, it's also saving you some time, because instead of pitching thought leadership ideas to individual medias, you can actually do it in bulk via blog, because we have lots of subscribers on the side of media. So we use it also for newsjacking opportunities, and when there is something that it's like time sensitive, we usually do a blog post on it and then just refer journalists to it. So technically it's also convenient for us, I think.
If you're interested in seeing how Publicize can grow your startup, sign up for a free PR assessment on our website. And for a limited time only, exclusively for the loudspeaker listeners, you can receive an SEO assessment as part of your package for any tier of service at no extra charge with this special promotion. To find out more, visit publicize.co/lspromo.
Bitcoin and blockchain comes up in the news a lot, especially recently with Elon Musk's purchase and the price being an all-time high. How do you recommend blockchain and crypto companies use these opportunities to their advantage for newsjacking? So obviously you got the blog opportunities that you mentioned. Do you have other examples?
Yeah, well, so this is actually Elon Musk's is actually a good example, because he just recently, the purchase that he just recently did raised a lots of question in the market. And you can go to our blog and read our fresh blog post from yesterday, I guess. That is written by one of our external competitors. And that's something that I wanted to stress out. It's absolutely normal that if you are smaller company in terms of how many people is working for you, that you don't have a possibility to cover every topic. You don't have the expertise. You likely not have anyone with special skills and expertise to be able to comment on economical influence of some move of a huge company. So that's why we actually bring external contributors that we work with. We make sure that they are on the same wave with us, and they understand what's our mission, but they're external specialists, and they're happy to write such pieces for us. So I think it also brings another value for people, for customers, that is not just some marketing blah, but it's actually a point of view of an expert. And I think when it comes to my experience, I think share a couple of things. So first of all, I would highly recommend to blockchain and cryptocurrencies not to go for everything, to pick their audience, to pick their arena, to pick topics and stick with them. Coverage is not everything, and I would say mainly community above clippings. The second advice, I think, would be to stay true to yourself, which is something that we are very, very aware of, and always discuss whether a piece of information that we are putting out, it's actually in line with what we believe in. And for that, you need to define very well your mission, reasons, and targets, and again, stick with them. Sometimes it's very difficult to navigate and please every journalist, but the online community and the other channels that you have in crypto, those folks are one of the harshest from my experience, and they will always use these bots that remind them on tweets that didn't age well. So be aware of that, and kind of integrate the whole communication in all your channels. And creating meaningful content is something that I think should be automatic, but sometimes it gets kind of lost in the overwhelming tasks that you have, building a brand and stick out and being there. But if you create meaningful content that really helps to solve some problems, I think that's always going to be working for you, and bring own expertise always.
And yeah, that's fair advice, and I think you're absolutely right when it comes to values, because the truth is newsjacking can go one way or the other. It can really help you, or if you screw it up, it can go very, very badly. So I think as long as you always keep your values in check, then you should be fine.
Yeah, just don't go for the click bites. And for sometimes you have to be really hungry, and you have to really grab the opportunity and be really confident on what you are saying and why you are saying it. But sometimes I feel like that newsjacking is one of these buzzwords in PR that now everybody is selling, and very often you have people trying to do that just for the sake of doing something, and I don't appreciate that.
Absolutely. So another thing I'd love to ask you is how the blockchain crypto industry is rife with scams. It's unfortunate, but it happens, such as, again, the Elon Musk Bitcoin giveaway scam that happened, I think it was late last year. And due to this, do you find that developing trust in this industry can be difficult, and how do you overcome this?
Well, the whole world is fighting scams, and you have lots of scams targeting banks and other industries. Bitcoin is obviously a new technology that is not that is not trusted that much. So it's still making its way through the space, and obviously there are scams, and because it's finance market, it is very sensitive, because it's people's savings. We try to educate people on self-sovereignty, starting with don't trust and verify philosophy. We even say don't trust us, verify. That's why we think that open source in this case, it makes huge sense, because if you cannot verify, then group of experts that are independent can do that for you. And obviously very important education is on part of your data sharing and good practices, how to handle your private data. Privacy, it's a big question in Bitcoin. And we have obviously in product security features that help our users avoid, for example, phishing scams. And part of our PR strategy is also our own content and channels, as I mentioned. So we focus on explaining security best practices, a little bit of economics, and broader education. All of these activities go in circle and basically are answer to any of your questions. But it is very important. Education is really a key pillar of our PR strategy.
Yeah, and it seems like your blog does a good job of that.
Thank you.
Yes, okay. So my last question to you, what advice would you give to other blockchain crypto companies that want more success from their PR efforts?
I think PR is really the best way to strongly define your brand and brand presence. It is a way to profoundly communicate who you are to your potential customers. But you always need to think about your vulnerabilities and prepare yourself for crisis. Bitcoin is one of the quickest evolving and fluctuating industry. So you need to be ready for times when no matter what you do, you will be standing on the thin ice, and it happens to anyone in the industry. I worked in PR focusing on IT and technology for over 10 years. And I had clients that would be, the smartest people you can think of, but still surprisingly be unaware of how media works, or how to formulate easier their complicated thoughts and transfer them to their customers. So you have to work with your stakeholders, and you have to translate the complicated things in an easy and understandable way to your customers. And probably the best advice: stay truthful to your original goals and philosophy. Be ready to simplify a lot. And if you're not a communication expert, hire one and prepare to learn your lesson on the way.
Fantastic. Well, Kristyna, if people do want to follow you personally or Trezor or read the blog, how can they do that?
Blog.trezor.io is where you can read all about Bitcoin, and you can find me on Twitter at @Makristine.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you.